case like unemployed. You guys are working on 76. Nice. I do want to hop back in there. There's a lot that I wanted
on YouTube, but I don't know how legitimate that is or trustworthy that is, but we'll see. I haven't gotten popped for the backgrounds, just the music. See, more okay. It looks good. Beard is not as red as it once was. Yeah. I like the change that OBS has done. It's definitely making things more convenient, for sure. So, I'll try it out. Let's see. I gotta find a tweet. Let's see if I can find the last time that I put something out. Because I've had a lot of other tweets in between and stuff. And got Division's got an update coming out. I'm probably going to miss that. I'll explain why that's going to happen in a bit. Chat, yeah, that's old chat emote mode. Only on this. No, that's an old tweet. Soon you won't be a chit chat. Store promotion. Alright, so it looks like the last time that I streamed, God, April 4th, 2021. Go bald first. You don't go bald, you just get more butch. That's what happens. You don't. And this is going to be so weird when I put it on YouTube because there's no context for the chat. It's I used to have the overlay, but it was eating up so much real estate on the screen that I just kind of dumped it, so. So you're starting to look more like Jason Statham? Is that what you're going for there, Ice? Just going to get buff? Is that what we're doing? So, April 4th, 2021. God. It's been over a year since I've put anything out. I'm just looking at stuff here. Okay. So, I think that's everything we're going to get for now. And I have no expectation of anything spectacular. That's not the point of coming in. It's just to kind of fill a gap for the YouTube channel. Because I have a lot of content there. It hasn't been edited. I just didn't have the time. There's been a lot there. So I put a tweet out. I'm going to reference that too. I put a tweet out on April 8th, 2021, putting that I'd been employed since Thanksgiving. COVID-19 has made finding work difficult. Due to the stress of this and many other issues, all streams are canceled from now until further notice. Thanks for everyone who has supported my channel, which I still support. I still thank everybody for supporting me and stuff. There was a lot of time where streaming was all I had to kind of pull away from everything because I'm the type of person where if I've got a problem, I will keep at it and add it to a point that it's unhealthy, and it will ruin everything and not make things better. And that's kind of what happened with streaming, was that I don't think I burned myself out. I don't think that's the issue. I focused on it too much and expected too much from it without being able to give it the energy, time, and everything that it deserved. And I found, because I look back at some videos, that what I did was I was very bland. It wasn't as entertaining as it could have been, I felt anyway. The games were good. I mean, I like the games, but it was hard to perform. I need to pull the Xbox gift card giveaway. It's still there if you have the points, but probably yank that at some point. I still have them. Still here. But anyway, I just didn't have the energy to dump into that to make it something good. And if you're going to do something, Dante would know this, there is no point in doing it if you're not going to have the energy, time, and effort to do it. You're just not doing anything good for anybody. You're not giving your best performance. Yeah, man. What is it, every 1 in 3? I think that's what Tony Stark said in Avengers. And I realized that was hurting because streaming needs a couple things, whether anybody wants to admit that or whatever channels you want to watch. I watched tons of videos on YouTube, a couple years ago, trying to figure out what to do. And streaming is not a hard thing to do. Anybody can do streaming. if you have a webcam, you have a mic set up, even a basic one, you can get a start someplace. You can do it. You can get out there. The problem is growth and sustainability. There's 3 of us here too. Well, I guess I'm the one. So you've got to, the first thing you got to be able to do is you got to be able to play games, right? That's the easy part. Anybody can play a game. I mean, hell, there are Twitch streamers who watch YouTube videos that other people put out, and they will use that as their content, and from there, you know, they got a channel, and as long as they have engagement, they make money. Or they have an audience. I shouldn't just say make money, because that's not the only point to streaming, but anyway, so one is playing games or having some kind of background content. That'll always be there, whether you play music, whether you... Yeah, that's the growth portion too. So you could have a full library of games. I have a full library of games, both through Steam, Xbox, not so much on PlayStation anymore, or PS3, PS4. I'm trying to get there. There's games I want to play on those. But that's the easy part. Anybody can buy a game. Anybody can play a game. Anybody can run that on a stream, broadcast it. Voila, congratulations, you're live, you're broadcasting. That's the first hurdle, getting that done. I was never really nervous with going on cam. I don't know how I got over that. I figured I'd be a very nervous person, very timid. I used to hate public speaking. It's not that I like it now, but it just doesn't bother me as much. And so once you got that done, your second part is audience engagement. That was one of the parts where I knew I was having issues. And the reason being for that is I have been a full-time work kind of person like everybody else since about the age of 16. I have never really had a break or a vacation from anything that was not stressful. Not to say I didn't have gaps in employment at the time. You know, there was a point where I was off for a year, but again, when I'm having a problem, in that case, like unemployed, you guys are working on 76. Nice. I do want to hop back in there. There's a lot that I want to do in there. Still, just helping you and just getting the achievement done. The last achievement, 76. But when you work all the time, and then that stops, and then you work on trying to find more work, you just can't focus. I couldn't focus on anything else. I couldn't. Some people are like that. And then when you go to a stream, you're still dealing with the public, and I've worked a lot of jobs that are public-facing jobs, or at least on the phone, because I did IT. I did IT for a number of years. And I just didn't want to deal with people anymore. Not that I hated anybody in my audience. That's not the case. We had usual stuff show up with people being jerks and whatever. I never had a problem dealing with that. I actually loved when people showed up trying to be dumb. Ice was there for this. We had one guy show up and he really tried to troll so hard, and he left just sad. He was broken because I just was acting like I didn't understand what he was saying, and he just got real sad, got quiet, and left. Didn't even have to really threaten anything. He just was gone. It was a great night for that. But that shouldn't be the interaction I'm looking for. I shouldn't want to have trolls show up so that I can have a fun time with them and try to make that the entertaining portion. Now, there's a time and place for that. Like, I would love to do Dying Light. No, not Dying Light. Oh, God. Dead by Daylight. Because that game is fun to be a troll on. It's designed that way. I'll do a stream with that, and I'll explain the format. There's a bunch to go over, but so the interactions were kind of bad because I was using streaming as an excuse to play games. That was the point, to section off some time from work, family, everything else, even if I had extra stuff I needed to do for work. And I was going to use that time to get game time in, finish achievements, complete titles I had put off for years because of working all the time. And that's where it's not all bad news, guys. Spent the whole stream using Shorzy clips at control. Oh, nice! For those that are going to watch this eventually on YouTube, Ice said he spent a whole stream using Shorzy chirps at a troll. Enjoyed that night. Yeah, it could be fun. I think trolls can be a very entertaining part of your stream. They're like hecklers at a comedy show, right? Hecklers are kind of an expected part. There's always one. How you deal with them is important. And it can really enrich that experience. To me, the mark of a good comedian isn't just the jokes they're laying down, or the flow of their comedy, And I always love the wraparound at the end of a comedy show when a comedian takes their first joke and they tie it in the end. I always love that. I am not a comedian. I'm not a good writer. But that art form, I think, is beautiful, and I love to do it. And I think that the other components of being a comedian isn't just your jokes. It's how well you can deal with a heckler live. Because that's not necessarily scripted. You can practice it. You can get good at it, but not everybody's good at it. And I've seen some comedy shows where it has fallen apart, and that's the end of the night for the comedian, is when the heckler ends up winning because they push the comedian over the edge. I think my email just kicked on. Hold on. Let's go ahead and kill that, guys. Yeah, we don't need those notifications coming through. So anyway, audience engagement became a problem because it went from, well, these are people I like, so it'll be easier to, well, I'm just really trying to play games, and the question comes up, why stream if, I mean, all you're going to do is play games, and you're not going to engage with the audience in a meaningful or good way. And we had jokes, we shared stuff, wasn't necessarily horrible, I just felt like it wasn't as engaged as it could be. And I remember just night after night doing streaming, I felt tired. Just sleepy. You can hear my family killing each other upstairs. And I became a very agitated, aggravated person. Ice was on one night. I yelled at my family because they were being too loud. That's not the person I want to be. The reality is, if you're streaming, you should have a quiet place, but I am not a pro streamer. And even if I was, I don't think it would matter. The house that I live in is shared with my stepson and, what's at this point practically my wife. So there should be expected for noise. I'm playing games. I'm not watching like a live World Series or something where the event's never going to come up again or something. You know what I mean? It's just not. But because of working how I was, the crappy jobs I've had, and anybody that works IT knows I don't think there's any such thing as a good IT job. There's IT jobs you can tolerate. And I don't care what level of IT you're in, that field has become so awful that it's just aggravating. You're always on call, you're always working, your boss is always getting a hold of you for something, no matter what time it is. So that made me a horrible person. Distant from friends. I'm still kind of distant from people now. It's not that I try, I've just got a lot going on right now. And again, I got more to explain that coming up. So we'll try to keep this within an hour. I can't promise anything. I'm trying. I love to talk. I've realized that. I've taken some recent time to have some introspection on things for myself. So this, the second part of streaming is the audience engagement. So before, I think streaming thoughts. Oh yeah, and that's and I'm getting to those points too. There's just a lot here to unpack, man. Yeah, without streaming, I probably should have. If I could go back, what I should have done was stop streaming when things were getting to a point where I felt it was bad, and got rid of that false sense of I can do this and push through, because I wasn't going to do it and push through. And I have seen a lot of streamers, a lot of good damn streamers that have had to stop streaming. Which is essentially indefinitely. Do I think they'll come back? Absolutely, I do. I'm not going to mention names here because I don't know everybody's situation. But I've seen a lot of good streamers stop their streams or change their format because life got to them and they had to do something. And at the end of the day, if I could go back, I would have ended streaming 2 years ago, and I would have just focused on playing games with everybody. But I was so damn sure that streaming was going to be my ticket out of the rut I was in, and that's not going to happen for a lot of reasons. So if you've got the content or the games to play, or there's something running in the background, great, awesome. Like I said, anybody can go run YouTube videos and watch those and get to a point where they're running that and commenting like, haha, look how funny, and we see those channels, and that's not what I want to be. And then if you've got the content anyway, and then you've got the audience engagement, you're still not done. You've got to have something interesting and refreshing. You can't just be doing the same as everybody else. But you've also got to have the time and energy to do it. It's a full-time job doing streaming. And in addition to the full-time job that I actually had out in the world, I was trying to manage a full-time stream channel, and I'm trying to do resell. I'm working 3 full-time jobs. One of them is paying steady, the other one's paying about a part-time wage, and the streaming was paying nothing, but I was still trying at it because I liked it. Or I thought I liked it. I think I do. I don't think I don't like streaming. I mean, who doesn't like streaming? Are you serious? Run through and go? I'd like to. I've got lots of ideas for stuff to do. So if you've got all those components in for a stream, you're good to go. You can do it. If you've got the time, energy, the content, the audience engagement, those things, you're good to go. And I will tell you right now, and you can go, anybody that may be watching this later or is new to this stream that may stumble upon this, I don't care if you're giving away Xbox gift cards. I tried that. If you are not good with your audience, you could be giving away just about anything and nobody's going to care. Nobody is. And to prove that, I had numbers on the channel where people showed up because I advertised heavily through Twitter and repeating it on the channel about gift cards. Because I'm working 44 hours a week, 9 days at the moment. I understand how yeah. Oh, you get frustrated at everything. You get grumpy, and yeah, not good. So I bought a pack of gift cards. I still have them. I can't get to mine now because there's crap in front of the drawer. But it was three $10 Xbox gift cards. The idea was to use the thumbprints, which is the currency for this channel, to get that out there and get people to engage and watch. And the mistake I made, because again, when you're tired all the time, you don't see certain simple things. You don't understand what's going on, and you just assume you're not doing anything wrong, just something sucks, right? You start blaming other stuff because you're tired. You just start getting upset. So I found that the initial engagement went up through the roof. We had streams with 14, 15, 16 people that I had never seen before. They drop a hello and they would lurk, and that was fine. We all don't mind lurkers. If you I don't know how to word this right, so I'm just going to say it. If you're a good streamer, you don't mind lurkers. Doesn't mean you're a pro streamer, top streamer, whatever. If you're a good streamer, you don't mind lurkers, right? It's like anything. It's better to have full seats in an auditorium, even if the people aren't looking at you. It's better to have them full seats than not to. Some might argue that's not the case, but I think I'd rather have a full crowd and have half the audience looking at me and the other half kind of just there. Because they might get engaged, right? They might see it. But that being said, if you don't have the audience engagement, it doesn't matter what you're giving away. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's not entertaining, not good, they're not going to show up. That's basic showbiz stuff, showmanship stuff. Dante would know that. He knows how crowds work. I'm just kind of dumb at that. Also, I wasn't in the right headspace either, so I didn't get it. I just figured, hey, run the stream, play the game, make some stupid comments. People watch the stream. It's not how it works. The other portion of streaming, this is the fourth, I think we're on the fourth. This is the more important one. For Twitch to work, this is the key ingredient, if you will. For Twitch to work, in my opinion, you have to find a way to be a part of a community. How strict that community is, that's kind of the hard part. There are communities that require you to stream 3 times a day, or 3 times a week. They want you to be on at certain times. You can only stream certain games. You have to plug them. I've heard many stories from people that I have streamed with, people that I know through Twitch, and people that I know in actual life that have talked about that and how that can be the difficult part. If Twitch is going to be your only job, and somebody that followed my channel before I left, I heard their success story, and I believe it because it works. Yeah, supportive community definitely helps. Yes, absolutely. This person had just started streaming 6 months before they had followed my channel. Why they followed me, I have no idea. Maybe they saw something. Maybe I had a good night. I don't know. And I had asked him, wow, that's amazing. How have you done so well? What did you do? Yeah, Dante hit on the head. Network communities are very important. And he said, I joined this streaming group with some people I know, and we kind of set up a schedule. They support me. I support them. I'm getting bright. And he said that in 6 months, he had gone from no followers to a few thousand, and he was getting 20-something views consistently. And I'm the type of person, I generally try to check out everything I hear and what people tell me, because people can be full of it, right? They can tell you anything you want to hear. It's streaming. Plenty of people say shit on stream that... I can't remember I was going to YouTube. I gotta be careful language. They'll say things that are not necessarily true, and it hypes them up, and that hype is a thing, but looking at his channel, when I would look at it, he was getting the views. He had done good with that. He was getting the consistent 20 views per night. That's huge. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if anybody wants to go, 20 viewers isn't that much. 20 viewers is huge. 5 viewers is huge. Anything, anybody watching your channel is huge, consistently if they're watching. And that's what his were. Same 20 people. A fellow skeptic. Yeah. I'll question everything. But he had all of it in place. He had community engagement. He had a good network of people. And that is the hard part of that, right? If you don't have the energy to stream to begin with, how are you going to be reliable to essentially show up to work for a community that needs you? You can't. It's not going to happen. So that's the streaming portion of things. That's what happened to streaming. I lost my job due to COVID. Yeah, I can't go into too many details on a web broadcast for multiple reasons. So many things can bite you in the ass for your vent-dwelling me. Yeah. But I can't get into the ins and outs of that with that employer because that could get me in some trouble. Not because I'd be doing anything wrong, but just because the world that we're in today, you cannot go out there and say certain things. But in short, I lost my job because COVID-related issues. That's what happened. I showed up to work and refused to do part of my job because of COVID concerns. And again, I'm not going to get into too many details of that, but when I did that, about a week after I had said, sorry, I can't do this because of COVID concerns, I'm asthmatic, so I am asthmatic, I was essentially fired because of that. The reason given was not COVID, obviously, because what employer is gonna go and do that knowing they can get sued or have to pay extra money? So that happened. Canadian phaser. Yeah, there you go. You're Canadian phaser. There's a big difference. So that happened, and with that started my journey of unemployment. I am now at over, I think we're sitting at 2 years. Come Thanksgiving will be 2 years, I think, or 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. This Thanksgiving will be 3 years. I was fired the day after Thanksgiving. So unemployment did pay out because of the circumstances. That kept me afloat. I tend to be exceptionally well with cash flow, and that I can make money stretch. If you know me personally, like if you've been a partner of mine, you would know that. You've seen the proof of that and understand how that works. So I made those monies stretch for a significant amount of time. That unemployment only paid out for about a year, and I've made it stretch over 2 years. The resale store, Dwarven Scavenger, everybody knows that. I'm going to plug that real quick. Why not? I run an eBay shop called the Dwarven Scavenger. I do resale. We grab everything we can. Shirts, pants, not so much pants. We have a few. Games, if I can find them. I mean, everything. Plush. It's an everything store at this point. That will be changing later on. Not for the bad either. Oh, thanks, Ice. Appreciate that sub, man. I don't think we're going to have anything exciting pop up here, though. It may not. I had to redo the overlays. Yeah, I had to remove the overlays. Yeah, it's something else I got to work on too, right? It's plug in the store and everything. We have it at the end of the channel. I need it in the channel. We're gonna make buttons at some point. There's a lot of work to do to the stream channel. There are a lot of things. I appreciate that, Ice. I think you were the sole reason why I got paid from Twitch. I did make money on Twitch. There it is. All right, that audio I can keep. Yay! For some reason, that audio passed the check on YouTube. I basically ran a video. I recorded a local video, put it on my private listing in YouTube, ran all of the redeems, and every time it muted, I went back through and I yanked everything out of OBS that was getting flagged. Everything. And that seemed to have fixed it, so. Long ago, when I was a kid, the old world people, parents, grandparents, used to say the mark of success is if you did something and you made money at it. Didn't matter what it was. If you made money at it, then it means you were successful at what it was. So I made $102 and some change off of Twitch. I met the threshold. They cut the money out to my PayPal, and woohoo, it made $100. It bought a few things for stream is what it did, and the rest just got sunk into the Dwarven Scavenger under that business for tax reasons is what it got put on. So that's just what I did with it. I need to get a separate entity set up for the stream if that becomes a thing, which I have a feeling it will, and again, I'll explain all of this coming up. So, but I should have had a logo that just spins on screen. Oh, now you're just giving me ideas. I used to be a graphic designer. I didn't say I was good at it. I worked for a newspaper. There's not a lot of imagination in newsprint. Just get the article in, letters line up. Is that picture clear? Good. Let's go. So, I forgot where was that? Oh, I know, man, and that's part of the problem is the inability to focus on things, just being frazzled after just being ran ragged all the time. Everything was just nonstop. I'm still kind of nonstop right now, but I've learned to somewhat pace myself in my current situation. So, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, I made money at it, so it was a success, the Gigolo business, but I don't know. I like how it, because you put the word Gigolo in, it flagged the comment and OBS is read like, hey, this could be dangerous. And I know it's not the PowerThumbz tag because it didn't do that before. That is so weird. Yeah, it's telling me here it may contain sensitive content. That's nice. I like to see things flagged in red so I can deal with them like immediately. Is ban in here too? We're having a squirrel moment, guys. That's what happens. That's just what happens. I can reply to the message. Yeah, you are dangerous. If anybody doesn't think you're dangerous, they need to think twice. You haven't been activated yet. That's what it is. Nice. Is a dangerous man. No, we don't sing on this channel for obvious reasons. So anyway, so the store, I don't know where I was at, so we're just going to go into our next portion, kind of. The store was making money. We plugged on the channel, and I don't know if we got any sales from here because I couldn't see Twitch-specific links. They were obscured for some reason in eBay's backend. But anyway, I had done resell as a way before streaming to get out of regular job. And again, that was another venture that energy, time, enthusiasm, all that stuff just wasn't playing into. The store's done okay. The store's doing a lot better now. The store is also a good reason why it was, while being unemployed, I was able to keep things together. It made that money stretch just that much further. I'm not going to disclose dollar amounts or anything. I don't think it's appropriate for the channel. But I had contemplated, and still am, I still have a lot of things that I want to do. Cover your eyes. Well, I'm glad to be here in any capacity. I feel better right now. Definitely more relaxed. But you cover your eyes, Dante. You look and you love it. So essentially working three full-time jobs stretch me thin. I love doing resell. It's not something that I do where I do it and at the end of the day I'm like, God, I hate my boss. He's such a jerk. Just hate this. I love resell. It's a very casual job to do. If anybody's doing resell and they're telling you they don't have time to do the resell or that it's stressful, they're doing it wrong. I learned that the hard way. I learned that in my first year of doing resell. There are things you can do doing eBay sales that make it easy. I can do most of my daily tasks for the eBay store in about an hour. It's the photography, sourcing, cleaning of product, that kind of stuff that takes a little bit longer. For example, yesterday I did 6 hours worth of photography. Dante's seen some of the sweet shirts we have coming to the shop. I hate being a salesperson. I sell stuff online, but I hate being a salesperson. Anyway, so that's what takes the most time, and I found a better process for that as well, because I've had time to kind of look back and see what I did wrong. I also, being unemployed for so long, had time to actually work on the store, to actually put the effort and time into it, to do it full-time. that also required stopping streaming for a bit. I had to pick a direction to put my energy in. And while I love streaming, streaming takes a lot more effort to make money off of. You really have to be performing. eBay, I take some pictures, I write a description, I fill in some categories, I list the item, a buyer comes along, they buy the item, and that's it. There's other nuances in there, but it's not that hard to pick up and learn. I can watch movies while I do the store. I can listen to music. All of that. That's why I got wireless headphones. If you guys are wondering, I need to pop it in my affiliate thing so I can get paid on the Amazon portion. I might have lost that because I haven't been on it so long. But I got Skull Candy wireless earbuds. That's what I'm using right now. So I can listen to music when I'm doing listing, because before I was kind of doing it in quiet and that sucked. And it's like, wait a minute, I had a day job where I was working all day doing stuff and not being able to hear music. That Chicago Bulls number 23, oh man, that shirt is awesome. I think it's brand new without tags. It does not feel like it's ever been washed. It doesn't smell, nothing. It looks like it's never been worn. That shirt, this one I'll disclose, that shirt should sell for about $100 because that's obviously number 23. I mean, come on. It's a beautiful shirt, guys. It's, once I get it listed, I'll have to pop a link someplace. Yeah, that brand is called Victorious. I definitely think it is. They only produce so many of those. that cleared the algorithm. That's until Dante copyrights his videos. Well, yeah, it was the place to focus, Ice. I appreciate you guys putting out, sharing out stuff on Twitter when you did. And it's hard, right? Because you guys are, your Twitter feeds the algorithm, and there probably sees you guys as streaming and gaming. And it's hard to push something else in there if it's not related. Algorithms are stupid. I hate them. I know they serve a purpose. I get it. I'm not saying that being ignorant. It's a love-hate relationship. I understand how algorithms work. At the same time, I hate them. But once I had the time to put in the store full time, really focus on it, and not half-ass it, it came through. And again, I don't care what anybody says. If you put 100% of your effort and time into something, I don't care how little you know about it. I don't care how dumb you are at it when you start. If you put 100% of your time into something and really try it, you will succeed at that. It may not be immediate success. It will take gradual leaps and bounds. And that's what the store has done at this point. Pretty soon here, I have a feeling the store is going to be at a point where it's going to be even less work for me because I'm changing some key factors of that, and it will still produce profit. But I finally took time to sit down while I was working in the store and watch YouTube videos of other resellers who are making 6 figures a year off of sales. One of the people I watch, that's, if you guys are really interested in resale, would be, and this is not anything plugged from them, but Rally Roots is a reseller. They're one of the first big resellers I watched. They're a great couple. Those two are awesome. They're in Florida. Ryan and Allie is who they are. They are an inspiration for resale. They make, I think they do 7 figures. I want to say they do 7 figures. So they're resellers that are working in the millions per year. Yeah, we're gonna have to get new redeems because we're out of redeems. I had to pull a bunch of them. There's still some in there, but a lot of them I had to clip. Again, I went through and I ran all of the redeems on a video, just back to back to back, and then uploaded the video to YouTube. And then when it processed, if you've never processed a YouTube video before, it chunks out the video and starts chopping the pieces out, and it tells you, hey, this could be an issue, this could be whatnot. I just read something here that says, Friends is going away on May 25th, 2022. Once removed, you will no longer see which friends are online. What is this all about? Oh, God. I don't know why I switched that. Oh, cool. I don't know if you know about that, Dante. They're removing friends. So you can see follow channels, but not friends? Oh, I see. Okay. Cool. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter unless you got online channels. Whatever. Squirrel moment. I get a lot of goes. Anyhow, so you bound friend. We friends. It seems like a redundant feature, the online friends tab. I don't need to see who's online. I want to see if they're streaming. I don't need to see if they're online. I don't want to be lurking people. That makes sense. It doesn't. So anyway, so Rally Roots, that couple, they started off. Theirs is truly an amazing story. They started off with like $100, I think it was, or a couple $100. They went to a thrift store, bought some goods, turned that money into a few $100 more. Ross and his creepiness will be gone. Yeah. Oh God. Ross, the man who friend zoned himself. So they kept rolling that money over and over and made more money, and then they got to a point where they made contacts, they got into wholesale, and they have a huge space. I watched them start out. They were in a rented space, very small building, to getting their own property, a warehouse, and doing a lot more sales. And they're doing 7 figures a year off that. That may not be entirely accurate. They think they say that. I think it's closer to a little under that, but who cares? That's still good money for doing very little in terms of work. Actually, they do work. I'm not saying they don't work. They work. It's just a lot less than you would do in a full-time job, and still getting stuff done. So, and they have a couple of employees. I would like to get to that point where the resale business gets to a point where I have a couple people doing that, and I get to do the management of that, which is getting product, getting the contacts made, that kind of stuff. So anyway, in short with that, the store is going to get narrowed down to mainly just, there will be some thrift in there, but shirts, used shirts, that'll be the thrift portion. Then cosmetics, because that was a category that was easy to source, did extremely well. Brand new cosmetics. If there's any ladies that are looking for regular makeup, check out Dwarven Scavenger on eBay. It's there. We've got that. There's a link in the channel bio or description here. It's got the Legend of Zelda. Buy something, will you? You run my physical shop? Well, it wouldn't even be actually a physical shop. It would just be a warehouse where goods are processed and stored. And so it would be, ideally, that position is really great. Generally, if you run a resale business, you have employees, you can pay them fairly well. And they spend not even 8 hours. You pay them like they're full-time is what you do. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's nonsense. But a lot of people who do resell remember what it was like to work crappy full-time jobs. They didn't pay that well. So the official term for my business is a micro business. Small business needs 15 or more employees, I think was the definition for that. And then 15 and below to being a sole proprietor, which that's what the business is anyway, is a micro business. And so there's some more benefits to being a micro business. But anyway, you get a couple employees that are doing photography, do your shipping for you and stuff like that. And essentially everybody gets to work half days without having to overdo everything. Which I think is great. That's where I'd like to be. So that's part of the updates. That's where things were. Where am I at right now? Well, right now, I've had time to look over everything. After initial freak out because unemployment's second payout did not happen. That was a big hit. So here's where else you enter at the front. Oh, there you go. A vendor shop. So, since unemployment wasn't coming back, I had a decision to make, and sometimes when you're not in the right mindset, you freak out, right? Because certain things, they blindside you or they hit you in such a way that you can't think straight. And I have a problem with that. I get stressed and I can't make good decisions. If I get stressed, I cannot make decisions in a meaningful way that will help me. It only hurts me. Again, focusing too much on the problem. So without unemployment coming through, without any more money, without being able to, I can't turn no money into more money. It's just not possible. I don't think anybody can do that. I'm looking at the prospect of losing my house. I put a lot of time into getting this place renovated. Even the process of getting this place 5 years ago was a pain in the butt. The housing market 5 years ago was insane. It was a seller's market. Everybody was selling to an insane amount. It's a seller's market now, but I'm on a different side of it. And so I'm sitting here thinking, God, I'm gonna lose my house, get a foreclosure. If I get a foreclosure, I'm never buying property again. It'll ruin my credit to a point where I can't do anything anymore. If you've never owned a home, and at the age I'm at, I'm late 30s now. God, I'm so old. There are still some people who do not own a home at this age and don't understand the ramification. If you lose your property to a foreclosure, it's essentially as bad as what bankruptcies used to be. Well, are, because before going bankrupt was kind of like Christmas, because, God, my parents' generation, bankruptcy was like, oh yeah, all the bills are taken care of, they're wiped out. Different time. But, yeah, I mean, I'm too old at this point. I mean, it would take you I think it's almost 20 years to really negate the negative effects of a foreclosure. I would never own property again. It would never happen. I would be stuck to renting, and that's too expensive in a lot of cases. Renting is so insanely expensive. Doing the math for it to sustain the bills that I have, and there's not a lot I can make any cheaper, really. There's not. Like, getting a landline phone is not going to solve any problems to save money. It's just not. I don't have cable. We have a few streaming services, stuff like that. There's not really anything I can cut to make stuff cheaper. I'm at the lowest you're going to get. Everything's pretty much cut to the bone. Sure, I could cut things like Game Pass. I could cut things like the streaming, and with all that together, I could maybe save a couple $100 over a year. Not that much else. So anybody that tells you, especially older generation, no, so you got that phone, you got that cable, you got that. No, I have none of that. None of that that's significant enough that if I cut it all out, it's not there. The main expenses that kill me would be rent or a house payment and utilities. Those are the two big ones. I can't make those cheaper. Even if I don't use gas in the winter, stuff still costs. It's expensive. So, doing the math, my house payment is exceptionally cheap for where I'm at. But to rent in my town in Colorado, it would cost around, I think it's $56,000 a year. That's to handle basic bills, rent, and utilities in a house. Apartments aren't much better here, so anybody wants to argue like, let's move to an apartment. Well, if I want anything with a significant amount of room, even if I wasn't doing resale, I still have to come up with around $50,000. If it is cheaper, it's only slightly cheaper. You don't want to live in a crappy neighborhood, so you're going to pay up for that. So $56,000. To remind everybody here, minimum wage doesn't pay that. And not that I'd be working minimum wage necessarily, but when most people say do whatever it takes to get the job done, to get your bills paid, there's not enough minimum wage. Yeah, well, I mean, if I downsized, it would be, that's kind of what I was getting at. If I downsized to a 2-bedroom apartment, it would be cheaper than what my house payment is. But that's not a comfortable living situation. I was a teenager. Oh, God. But... oh, I don't think I want to be a plush. Holy crap. Plays my laugh. Everybody's watching, it's got an Etsy store. Contact me. We've got a request. That sounds awful. Yeah, both the plush and the rental situation. So, doing the math, and these are numbers for this area in Colorado where I'm at, it would cost around $56,000 a year to rent. The majority of that expense is your rent. Not your utilities, not your phone bill, your rent. And it is $2,000 per month generally. Some places here float. So the rental range in my area is $1,200. That's the lowest I've seen, and that's in a crappy neighborhood, to $2,800 per month in rent. The sweet spot in between there I found, though, the average, if you will, was on the low end, $1,600 in okay areas for smaller houses, 1 to 2 bedroom homes, if you can find those. Those are all pretty much gone. And around $2,000 to $2,100 for a house. So not bad. And I say that because there's definitely more expensive. But there's work in the United States is not going to cover that. It's just not going to do it. There's if you're renting and you're making enough money to rent a place, like on a job, you need to really reevaluate your finances. You're bad with money. If you're making a job that allows you to pay that much money and you don't own a home, there's something else going on. I'm not saying you're an idiot, just saying there's something else going on. Maybe you got debt, maybe you're bad with money, whatever it is, figure it out, get yourself into something. Because I was able to buy a home, finance it, and do all that stuff. I was able to buy a home, granted it was cheaper, and I do a lot of work to it, but I was able to do it on about $32,000 a year. So it is cheaper to buy. Granted, I had to get assistance to get a down payment for my first property. I did flip a property to get into this one. There's a lot of in-betweens and semantics, but the point is that if you're making more than minimum wage, much more than minimum wage, if you're in the $32,000 to $45,000 range, there is a path. Is it easy? No, it is not easy. Not easy at all. But it is something better. It is something you can work with to a degree. I'm not saying it's easy. It sucks. It's hard. It takes discipline. I've had to sacrifice a lot of things. I've had to tell a lot of people no to get to where I'm financially stable to a point. So, with the thought, if, oh God, I'm going to lose my house, what am I going to do? Because if I lose my house in foreclosure, obviously I'm going to have no money. I can't rent anymore. I'm going to be homeless. This sucks. I don't want to be homeless. I worked so hard to get here. Why am I going to be homeless? I'm tired of getting screwed over by employers. I'm tired of things not working out. Just all that. Just bowl of crap. Just awful. Ice says my neighbor's house is rented for $3,300, but it's a complete house, lots of bedrooms, bathrooms, large yard, big driveway, and lots of updates. So that's a lot of what the rentals are in the area I'm at and what I'm looking at, but those are closer to $2,800 if they're fully updated and stuff. Some are going for $2,200, some are $2,000. It depends on the area, age of the property, stuff like that. I've never rented a property out. I would feel guilty to a degree charging that much money for a property, but my mind has to kind of be put into a box for that and realize it's a business situation. It's where the market's at, and you're stupid if you're not charging somewhere in that range because you've got to stay competitive. I hate being an adult because of the things that I get to see that I don't like that are just unfortunate truths of things. And I don't know things about the area. Yeah, I don't. For those that don't know, ICE is in Canada. I don't know what typical jobs pay there. I don't know what minimum wage is there. I can't remember if we've talked about that or not. If we did, it was early on in the division days. But I can't recall knowing what that is. I don't think I've ever looked it up because I'm not sure where I would look for that. Here it's pretty easy. Just Google it, you find it. Maybe it's the same for there. But I would venture to say that you can't rent a house like that on what would be minimum wage, right? Like you'd be kind of stuck to apartments or shared living situations. Would that be right, Ice? We'll see what he's got to say on that there. So I had a decision to make. Foreclose. Stay here in this property. I'm still in my house. Stay here until I run out of money and the property forecloses and I have nothing left. Nothing. Savings drained. Retirement that I do have a little bit drained, gone. Investments gone. I have very little of those things. Just barely a start. Trying to hope that I can, at this age and a few years before, get money in investments that will hopefully allow me to retire without too much of a problem. Because retirement in the United States is a very difficult thing. If you don't have the money put away, you're not going to retire. It's not going to happen. You're going to be working at Walmart as a greeter, if they still have those. I haven't seen a greeter in so long. Or you're going to be a cashier till you're dead. That's going to be the last day you show up to work, is when you don't show up because you die. I don't want that. I don't want to live necessarily a lavish lifestyle, but I do not want to be working a minimum wage job until I'm dead, because for me, and how anybody feels on this, that's up to them, but I realistically see that in the future, by the time I'm retiring age, there will be no Social Security for me, and that's not even enough to begin with. It's just not. But even that is better than nothing, right? And I just don't foresee Social Security being there for my generation. There's a lot of people in my age group that feel that way, have voiced concern about that, and there's no governmental help. That's not coming. There's not. This generation is a group of people that have been pretty much pushed off on a raft out to the ocean and just been told, good luck. Here you go, good luck. So anyway, I've made the decision to sell my house. At first, let's see, minimum wage is $15 an hour per, I believe. Okay. The housing rental market is going out of control right now. My grandpa's house is like $600,000 a year, and half ago and sold for 1.61. Jeez. Normally, someone your height would be comfortable in the basement. I like basements. I'm in one right now. That white. Sorry, another squirrel moment. That white makes it look like I have two separate things. It's kind of a style now, huh? There's actually, there you go, beard under there. It's in there. It's just not. I'm not dyeing it either. I don't care. I've had people out. You can dye your beard? No, I'm not dyeing my beard. I wear my gray with badge of honor. Yeah, disclosure on that too. So if anybody is curious, and I'll say it on here, I bought my house at $184,000 5 years ago. And it's going to sell for close to what Dante's saying, $500,000 is what it's going to sell for. Yeah, I have debts. I spent 10 grand fixing this place. I got this place cheap because it had like 18 people living in it. The carpets were nasty. My ceilings and walls were yellow because they had smoked so much in this house. I did a lot of work myself. I was very proud of that. It was the first property that I fully renovated to a degree. Yeah, man, it's crazy time. This is why it'd be stupid for me not to sell. I'll let you know the results of my sale. Let you know what I make. I don't know if you guys would decide to do anything, but I'll tell you right now, the numbers that I've been presented with by the real estate agent I'm working with are insane. I cannot believe what's going on right now. Yeah. Yeah, if you've got a property right now, I know this is difficult, and I'm gonna present to you guys my plan for things, and maybe a lot of other people should look into following this. That's at your discretion. Because it's thrown up on YouTube, and probably because Twitch has replays, I'm just going to say it now. Anything you hear in this video is not a legal advisement. I am not a legal advisor. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a lawyer. I do not have any legal capacity to tell you to or not to do anything. If you're watching this video solely at your discretion for entertainment purposes. Anything beyond that is at your own whim. There, I've done it. It's not professional almost. I'm proud of myself. So anyway, so I bought my house at 184 after all was said and done. Obviously, when I say I bought my house, that means I was making payments on it. I'm in a flood zone. For those that don't know, haven't heard that story, my property flooded. That sucked. I'm on a floodplain, 100-year floodplain, which sounds like a safe thing. You know, oh, it's only going to flood every once 100 years. Now that's crap. It means it's going to flood at some point. Just don't know when. Anyway, I spent about 10 grand doing things like replacing windows, replacing carpet, painting. I painted this place myself. I tried a sprayer, didn't like it, so I hand roll painted everything in here a nice cafe color. We went with that kind of color for things. I painted the bathroom upstairs that I have white. It was really ugly. The people who were here had a deal with the owner that owned this place before I bought it, that as long as they maintained the property and stuff, they got their rent super cheap. Hence why there were, like 18, 19 people living in here. So I incurred some debt between renovations that had to take place because I had no other place to live. This was the only property I could afford in that crazy market 5 years ago. This was the only property I could do anything with, and I had no other option. I did not have enough money to rent, but I had enough to buy. And if I rented, I could have technically rented. It would have killed my opportunity to get a down payment. And I had just bought, I bought a townhome before that, a condo, and flipped that for a nice profit, nice tidy profit. I think that's the term they use. And then after that, I used the proceeds from that property to get this one. And I think I did very well. I did not see myself getting into property flipping. Here we are. So after all is said and done, once I sell this property, and this is where I get into what my plan for things is, you take it at your own discretion, whoever's watching this, whoever will be watching this, is I'm going to sell this property, pay it off. That's going to boost my credit. I'm going to pay off the credit card that I have almost maxed in doing renovations in this property. I have a personal loan for other business that happened. That needs to be paid off. That's all my debts. That's it. I'm doing fairly well for somebody my age if those are my only debts. I don't have any college debt or anything. I don't have a car that's got payments on it. I will pay those debts off. Well, it's just another form of resale, right? And that's what I'm good at. I'm good at resale. I'm damn good at resale. So by selling this property, I will not have a foreclosure on my record. I will, in fact, make profit. And I will tell you right now, if you are, I'm going to sound like one of those Bitcoin and NFT pushers, but this is a house and not those things, so just stick with me. If you have a property that you bought super cheap and you are not selling that property, depending on your circumstances, it is probably a mistake that you will make. Depending on your situation, everybody is different, so weigh it carefully, and this will probably make sense going forward. If you seek to make a decent profit off a property, compare house off, and you have a bit left over, because I'm going to have a bit left over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rent a property for a year to start. Now, I know it's like, oh God, why rent? It's so expensive. And if you already have the money to pay for a full year of your rental and expenses, which I will, I've already done the math for that, then renting is not a pain in the ass anymore. It's almost like having a really expensive Airbnb, right? It's a property that you don't have to worry about repairing for a year. I lose the stress of that. The rent is fixed. Your house payment's generally fixed, but I was in a flood zone, or I'm in a flood zone, so my flood insurance can vary, so that's kind of stressful. But without that, anyway, I can rent for a year stress-free. Everything's paid for. I can take the year off. Now, that's an arbitrary term. I like to think of Post Malone's congratulations in that worked so hard, forgot how to vacation, because that's how I am. I tend to work very hard at whatever I do, and so when it comes time to take a break, I'm just ready to try to work more. I'll burn myself out trying to make sure I'm doing something. But, so when I say I could take a year off, that doesn't mean I'm just going to take a year off. What it means is that for the contract year of that rental, I don't have to worry about finding a job. I don't have to go through the stress of hoping unemployment comes through, filing out the unemployment paperwork, doing applications for jobs, dealing with the crappy phone calls from people in India offering me these jobs that don't actually exist. All of the stress of that goes away. The stress of living in a property that's in a flood zone goes away. I take mental health very seriously. Anybody who's watched this channel knows that I do. So when I say things like this, I don't say them lightly. I mean them in a literal sense. I essentially have PTSD from the flood portion. I think I have some form of autism or PTSD. I don't think I discussed that on channel. I need to get a diagnosis. That's other medical stuff I need to take care of. Anyway, that's another time. But that flood has given me a sense of PTSD. I have dreams about my property flooding. When I do dream, I can't sleep when it rains because I'm worried about the spillway behind my house overflowing again and flooding my property and ruining my house, destroying my possessions. I have those. I used to love rainstorms and thunderstorms. Now I'm not, it's not scared. I'm just traumatized by it. As bad as that sounds, because I'm worried my property's going to flood. I'm worried that something bad's going to happen. My room in the back that did flood, we minimized it. I think we did very good, never having dealt with a flood before. I narrowed it to one room, one small room. And I may or may not have to get that repaired depending on how the sale works or whatever. So, but anyway, to be out of that stress, not have to worry about finding work, that's two things off my plate that's already fairly full. So when I say I could take the year off, that's kind of what I mean. What does that mean? And this is where we kind of get to it is kind of the now and a little bit of the later, is that I can focus on streaming. I can set up a streaming schedule that I can stick to. Why? Because I am my own boss with the resell. And again, the resell can do things it couldn't do before. And here's why. I was spending the profits from my business to pay my bills. That's not a bad thing if your business is growing. Unfortunately, the growth money that my business had was going into bills. So if I pulled $1,000 in a month, and yes, that's low numbers, but considering when I started my business, I was making, a couple $100 a month. And that starting resale, you can expect to make a couple $100 or less per month when you're getting started. Nothing becomes big overnight. It does not work that way. So all my profit was being spent on my house, on bills. That's going to create some tax issues. I'm already prepared for that. I already know. I'm not looking forward to it, but I know how to handle it. I can deal with that. That's easier to deal with. Sucks, but it's easier to deal with. But in doing that, it was the adult thing to do. I have a family to take care of. You have to make those decisions. Good, bad, you make those decisions. Am I in trouble for tax evasion? No, I'm not. That's not an issue there. It's just back taxes I will have to pay. I will have to consult a professional on things. There's a lot of things business side that are new to me that I didn't know, and that information can be exceptionally hard to find. But that was something I knew I had to do. There was no other way. If I hadn't done those things, I would not be in this position right now to be living here as long as I am. So anyway, with all that, I can, since I'm my own boss with the resell, I can let the store make profit. I can let that go back into the business. I can contribute more money to my business savings, which you do in a business. You need business savings for a number of reasons. I can also afford to buy more profit or more product. You know, I can start doing the things that these bigger resellers are doing. I didn't realize that in terms of what I was doing at the business, I'm at the level where other resellers are that have made that jump. When you're a reseller, you make the jump when you have enough money to start buying bulk lots of wholesale. And I'm not talking a box. I mean, you can buy a Gaylord of materials, a pallet, a truck, those kind of things. That's where I'm at in terms of where the store needs to be. That was the kind of money I was pulling and having to reciprocate back into the house. So being able to take a year out with a full year paid means that I can let the store grow like it should, and that's going to replace any full-time job, be less work. And then I can also do streaming. But I can do streaming from a different approach because of the fact that I don't have all this other crap coming at me all the time. I can be a better person for it. I can be a better, spouse. Not married, but we'll use that term. Spouse, father, those things. Friend, all of those. I don't try to push anybody away. I'm trying to ignore anybody. I feel bad when I don't have time to talk with anybody, engage with anybody. And then when I do, I just kind of dump everything at once, and I feel bad for that. Dante's experienced that. And I know Ice has to some degree as well. And I don't try to distance myself because I don't like anybody or I'm mad at anybody. It's just I feel like I'm hurting them by giving them less than everything or less than something good. I don't want to be talking to people and have nothing but sad stories or just depressing stories or just loss. I don't want that. What I want is to be able to have an even kind of way of doing things. I want to have a platform where I'm able to talk about things, where I'm also able to be positive, or just, if I'm having a bad day, then get it out and say, like, hey, this was awful. It sucked. It was no good. It was, nothing. But a good experience, not just left off. So that's where things are going. As far as stream format, that's probably going to change a little bit. I don't think it's going to be bad, but I have a notebook I've been keeping. I've been writing stuff down. Instead of just trying to meet, before, if I had an idea for stream, I'd just go do it. And that's not the way to do it. Not unless you're really good at that kind of thing. I am not. I need planning on stuff. So what I want to do is I still want to do games. I still have a game backlog that I need to get done. I still have co-stream stuff I want to do. I still have games that, like with Division, new content's coming out. I'd like to play it with Ice. Now, because of house sale and moving and stuff, this is going to be the last stream for a little bit. There's going to be another gap. So at least this time I know there's going to be a gap. The exact time I don't know. That's going to depend on when the house sells, how long it takes us to get a rental. We're already looking into that. And then getting everything set back up. My stream is not exceptionally complicated. I just need the space, run the wires, run the cables, get the computer set back up. Luckily, the computer is also what I use for resale. So I feel that when it comes to a personal computer, I've done a lot, or I've used that machine for so much. It's very versatile. And what you need to do, get that. Oh yeah, and that's where I have a hard part though. That's what I was saying earlier, is that when I have problems, I am a type of person, I dwell on it too much, and it doesn't do any good. That's a habit I have had a hard time breaking, of not dwelling too much on the problem and realizing that there's only so much you can do. I've gotten better at it. I feel that with the possibility of losing my house, I was able to, I don't know how, but I was able to look at things differently, take a step back, take a breath, and go, oh, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's what needs to happen. So, how the stream format's going to change is I realized that you're good, man. I got you. I know what you meant. How the format's going to change, and I want to make something clear. The people that know me already know this. We all have similar respect for each other, but if there's content you don't like that I do, it doesn't mean it's going to be graphic. It doesn't mean it's going to be out there. I'm just saying, if it's content you don't like, don't watch that channel. Don't watch that stream. Don't watch that video. And where I'm going to differ on doing things is I'm going to put out videos, and I want them to be able to go on YouTube. The idea is that there will be one edit of the video which is live on Twitch, and then that video will be edited down. Things will be edited out. I'm going to knock out the intro. We'll have a different intro on YouTube. Some content may be edited out, stuff like that. And it'll be a different video that goes to YouTube, and then that should hook people to go over to Twitch when stuff's coming up. I will announce the videos. I'm going to try to make a season is what I want to do. Like, this is, whatever we start, that'll be the start of a season. Obviously, it's going to be a season where it's a short, but say season 1 starts next month, then I'm going to try to plan out X amount of episodes for that season. The episodes will not be tied to gameplay necessarily. So that means if I decide to stream 5 nights a week, the season episode, what goes over to YouTube, will only be 1 episode. Like that. But I want to start talking about things that are more political. I want to talk about things that are more world involved. Those are topics that I like to talk about. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. These are things I just want to do. And I know, and I'm not pointing anybody out, that's not the point of any of this. I know that some people prefer not to have that content. I completely support that. If you know me and you don't want to watch it, I'm not going to be offended. I'm not going to be hurt. I don't care. We're not friends because you have to listen to everything I say, and anybody that's going to watch the channel doesn't have to watch the channel because they have to, see everything I do, or that's not how it works. I don't believe in forcing anybody to do anything. Yeah. And pretty much everybody I know is good about that. I'm just putting it out there. Again, this is going to go over to YouTube, and I feel the content should be evenly kind of displayed there. But I will make sure that before I run a stream, nobody's going into it blindly. I'm not just going to start a stream up with a topic pre-picked and just be like, well, welcome everybody in. Surprise, surprise. We're not going to do that. One topic, I've got a few. I'm not going to go over all of them because I've got a pretty exhaustive list. I've got plenty of ideas for things to run on the channel that we'll run through. I haven't picked what night I want to do them on. I am thinking that the episode type stuff will be on Fridays. So essentially a topic will be pre-picked, and then that Friday will be a game or not a game. It'll be a chat like this, shorter. I'll try to keep it to an hour. That's the target for those. And a lot will be pre-written. I'm not going to read from the script, but I am going to try to box myself in with topics and bullet points so I'm not running off the rails constantly. Obviously, there's going to be some room for run over because we're going to have an audience. I definitely foresee this being something that's going to get some engagement. What that engagement looks like, I don't know, but we will get there. That's the fun of the journey, right? But one topic would be like Grand Theft Auto 6 or Rockstar games. I could do 5-6 videos based on Rockstar Grand Theft Auto. I have an axe to grind, so to speak, with that franchise and stuff. Does that mean it's going to be just crapping on Rockstar Grand Theft Auto? No, it's not. That is not what I want to do. I do not want my channel to become, let's shit on this for the next hour and a half. Let's go play a game and just drag it through the mud. That's not the point. An example would be, to kind of better, is Fallout 76. I love Fallout. I will always love Fallout. Fallout 76 has some issues. It does. But there are good points too. I've had a lot of good time in that game, but it definitely needs some help. The theme that I kept running with, and this is a rough of that, was a possible title of talking about Fallout 76 would be Fallout 76 is like a broken amusement park. Doesn't mean bad, just means it needs some help. We've had for hours in those. Yeah, there you go. I saw something. I missed something there. Okay, no, I got that. I do. I want to talk about a wide run of topics. The great thing about doing this platform live is that I can have 6 shows lined up talking about just games. I can talk about Rockstar as a company. I can talk about Grand Theft Auto 5, the online portion of that. I can talk about the possibilities of what GTA 6 is going to look like, which I will. I have a whole thing planned up for that. I can talk about Fallout. I didn't already say that. And then if I decide I'm bored of that or I need to lighten the mood, I can pick a movie I really love, go talk about that, talk about scenes in that movie, did you know, stuff like that, and I can put that out to lighten the mood. It really depends on where the audience is and how much they can handle at that point, right? Because if the audience that comes to me, they say you find your audience. I don't think that's true. I think your audience finds you. You can find people to watch your channel. I could run ads and get viewers, but that's not my audience. Those are viewers. That's different. Your audience is the core group that comes around again and again for no other reason than they like you. I'm going to pronounce the guy's name wrong. I think it's Elohim. He starts his videos out with a monologue. Dude's great. I tried to watch channels in between. I was not even about it. I missed a lot, but I would watch a half hour of his. He just did an open monologue, just talking about whatever. He would basically let the chat start, unless he was pissed off about something. He would let the chat start, and then he would just go off on that. And he was good. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did it. He would cut it off at a half hour very elegantly. I mean, you just felt like you finished a conversation with him at a half hour, and then he went into gameplay. He's good at games, too. It's not that he's crap. He's good. But I want that mix of content. It has to be engaging, and I think this fills that need. It has to be something you're interested in. I can't go and run a stream talking about something I don't care about and I'm interested in. That's going to be a problem. So I got to keep it mixed up. Is someone going to be political? Yes, it will be. If I had it my way right now and I was at a place to do it, I'd be talking about the Roe versus Wade thing. Is it polarizing? Sure, absolutely. Should you talk about it? I think you should. But everybody's got a differing opinion on that, and that's fine. Nobody has to show up to the channel. Nobody has to talk about it. Nobody has to engage with it. That's not what I'm about. I have opinions I want to express. I have things I want to get out. Is it going to change anything? No. Not going to change anything. But it's an outlet that I need, and that is what Twitch streaming is. Twitch streaming is an outlet for people. If you play video games and you're good at it, if you play video games, you're bad at it, if you play games and you're competitive, if you play music, if you review movies, even on the low end, if you do pseudo oral sex on a microphone and call it ASMR, it's an outlet, right? I don't like it. I have my own bone to pick with Twitch as well. That'll be a topic as well. I have a feeling talking about Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto, and Twitch in particular are going to be 3 videos that will get a lot of views on YouTube if we don't get them on Twitch. Timing's important on those. I have to do a video about the potential of Grand Theft Auto 6 before GTA 6 gets fully announced and out, right? I have to do a video on Twitch before too much changes, and then I've got to do a video on Rockstar before anything changes there. So a lot of the problem with live content, like a lot of live news, is you have to do it when it's relevant. If I'm talking about issues with a game now, and those issues happened 3 years ago, it's not going to be relevant or as exciting anymore. It's not going to pull up the content. So that's kind of where we're at. I like Star Wars. I'm not like a super fan. I mean, I don't own a lightsaber, but I'll run around in robes. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars. I like bits of the franchise. I kind of fall in with the group that loves the original trilogy, could do without Jar Jar Binks, liked Rogue One, is not sure where the new movies are going. I'm one of those people. That's me. I don't own a large amount of Star Wars goods. I have a lot of Star Wars shirts that are coming up for sale in the store, but I don't. I've watched parts of The Mandalorian. I thought that was good, but I'm not a huge fan. I like it. I'm definitely more of a Star Wars fan than a Lord of the Rings fan. Not that I hate Lord of the Rings. It's just I like Star Wars more. I'm more of a sci-fi guy though, myself. I'm more of a sci-fi person. I have a few of the books. I haven't read them. I want to get into. I understand those explain a lot of the universe more in depth, but it's a time issue right now. I have. If you think I got a lot of games, I need to get a picture of all the games I have. If the way I've described the games backlog sounds like a lot, my books backlog is larger. We built a pseudo library in this house, so yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. I need to see them still. I'm a huge James Bond fan, but I don't like the newer ones with Daniel Craig, and it's because I think they screwed up the character. But, and this is something I have to be careful with, because I formed opinions on two franchises. Two. One is the James Bond franchise, the newer stuff. The other one is the DC Universe. And I cannot fully say that I have a right to complain about all the DC Universe stuff. And here's why. Because I have not watched some of the movies. I have seen Aquaman. I have seen one of the newer Batmans. I need to watch Justice League. I need to watch those movies so that way I can form an intelligent opinion. And to Dante's credit, I hate Robert Pattinson. But I cannot have an opinion on the Batman movie if I don't watch it. I am very much one of those people. If you have not seen something, you should not make a comment about it unless you have at least some first-hand experience with that. So if I'm going to be talking about films, books, whatever, I need to have been able to see them, read them, whatnot, to make an opinion. That's how I feel. And that's what I'm going to stick with. It is. I can have an opinion on the DC Universe. It's fractured, right? One thing, I'm going to do a thing on that. That's another topic I picked up. Warner Brothers, DC have done a horrible job of making continuity in their universe. Their cinematic universe is lost. It makes no sense. It's all over the place. I am hopeful, even as much as I hate Robert Pattinson. Yes, it's because Twilight. Everybody can hate me until I die. I don't care. I hate Twilight ruined his career. Somehow it ruined his career, but helped Kristen Stewart, I think that's her name. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. But I need to watch it. I'm hoping, as much as I don't like him, I'm really hoping that that Batman reboot and the universe they have planned will tie everything together. I'm hopeful for that because a company announced they're buying out I think it's the Warner Brothers division, something like that. I need to find the article. That's the other thing. I'm going to try to get links for a lot of the stuff I talk about, too, to back that up so I can throw them in the chat and then also include them in the YouTube videos. But I'm hopeful that they can get it together. My only concern there is that with the DC Universe, by the time they get everything together, everybody's going to have superhero fatigue from Marvel because Marvel has done such a good job of putting things together. Not a perfect job, but a good job. Well, see, I want to see... I've seen clips from Batman vs. Superman. The clips I've seen in the sequences, the cinematography looks great. They did a great job there. The story is what I have a problem with. I was really upset because Batman vs. Superman was the Dark Knight Returns, I think, the animated comic, the two-part comic. They got turned into... Or, misquoted, sorry. It was a multi-series comic that got turned into a two-part animated DC Comics film. That film was great. I think it was The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and Part 2. That's where Joker dies, he gets killed, Batman kills the Joker. I feel like in cinema, they missed a moment with that. Because that Batman versus Superman battle was so much better. And yes, they pulled parts of it, very, very few parts of it, for the movie. But that story should get out much more. Now, I am aware that Robert Pattinson's Batman is based off of Batman Year One, so I would not go into that expecting a full-fledged Batman or an inept Batman necessarily. I expect Year One Batman, and from what I've heard, that's what it is. It's Year One Batman. That was also a great animated movie. Oh yeah, Shang-Chi they did good with. A lot of people wanted to hate that before it came out, but I think it did really good. It is definitely a nice expansion to the Marvel Universe. Marvel's doing that really well. I wanted to see the new Doctor Strange right away, but because of moving and everything else, I'm probably going to miss out on that until it's available for rent or on a streaming service. So, but I have these topics I want to talk about. That is most of what YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all these platforms, that's most of what they are. Even TikTok is people's opinions. That's what they are. People want to hear that. I don't know why. I don't know what the fascination is, but algorithms, statistics show people that don't want to produce content, want to watch other people make amateur content like that. They want to see that. It's just what they want to see. If I had to pick, like I've already said, where do I want the store to go? The resale store to go. I've already explained that. I want to have employees Not a lot, a few. I want to pay them a really good wage. I want that to be a good thing. And for those that don't know, to recap, if you're watching this on YouTube at some point, the way my resale store works for the thrift is I buy from a thrift organization. It's not Goodwill. It's a different organization. They do similar things, but this organization, because they're not so big and they're local, the money that I spend at the store is charitable because the store uses that to employ the people with developmental disabilities and to help that community. That money is sourced a lot better. For those that don't know, you can look up documentaries, and resourcing this thrift is a very dirty market. Not the goods, but where the money goes. Goodwill has been accused of, I'm not going to say they are because I don't want to get in trouble later on in life, but Goodwill has been accused numerous times, and it has been shown on paper that a lot of the money that Goodwill gets does not go to charity. Does that mean they're a completely dirtbag organization? No, it does not. But they could do better. Or so people have alluded to that. I'm not an expert on that matter. I understand it though, and whatnot. So with the stream, where would I like to go? I would like it to be a mixed channel. Nothing I do is focused on one thing. I just can't stay to one thing. I like to talk about different things. I like to be able to change the mood when I can. I like to be able to branch out, to have those opinions. Do I want to be an influencer? Not necessarily. I don't want people to look to me for what products to buy, what movies to watch and stuff. I just want to provide another opinion in the mix that may be the same, a little bit different, whatever it is. I just want to have that mark in there, and we live in a time where you can do that. If, it's not your thing, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to force anybody into it. What are we at? Almost done and a half. We're almost done. I promise, guys, we're almost done. But I was going to kick up WoW. We're probably not going to do that. I needed to get this out. I needed to get it onto a public platform. I've been driving Jillian here nuts talking about this over and over again. So having this out on a public platform is like therapy for me. I look forward to comments that come through anywhere on this. Like I said, I don't know what's happening on YouTube. We had good views on YouTube. A little insight into the stats there. It's just a side note. Another little squirrel moment here where we're just kind of like, oh. Most of my viewership was coming from Brazil. I'm not sure why. I was huge in that region. I don't know why. I have no idea why. But that's where a lot of my views are coming from. I almost got to a point where I was able to do the equivalent of partner on YouTube. Oh, I feel good now. I mean, I can do some farming and wow, I don't mind. I need to get some leather. I've also got to check my auction house goods. Gold has been going nuts since Shadowlands released from Warcraft. Anyhow, the views were doing good there. Obviously, if you're not active on YouTube, you lose the equivalent of like partner. I had that. I mean, we were getting enough videos out. We weren't getting a lot of audience engagement. Like there weren't a lot of comments on the YouTube videos, but there was a lot of engagement with people in there, and AdSense was picking stuff up. I was monetizing a lot of my videos. Now, the headache obviously was getting videos demonetized. Part of that was because of the stream redeems I had. That was killing stuff. I can't really fix those because the only way I can do is mute audio, which I have. But unfortunately, like a lot of YouTubers know, when you put content out and part of your channel gets muted, even if you're not talking, it tanks viewership. People just don't want to see that. They expect a channel to be clean and clear. So that's why a lot of content creators have gone over to Patreon, or they're if you have like a documentary base, you're going over to Curiosity Stream or Nebula. Those kind of things. That's why people go to those, because the restrictions are a lot less. Patreon, you can kind of do whatever you want to a degree, and with Curiosity Stream, if you're doing documentary material, they do not have as heavy enforcement of copyright. I've seen previews from there. I'm thinking about getting Curiosity Stream because they got a lot of good content, and I watch that while I do the store stuff. But a lot of the documentary content, they have clips from movies, they have clips from archival records, stuff like that YouTube would flag just because, and they have music. They use copyrighted music in those videos, and Curiosity Stream doesn't care. They kind of cover the content. They pay for a license is what they do, as far as I understand. I don't know if it's actually true or not. I haven't looked that far into it, but you have to run documentary type material or entertaining show platform kind of material. You have to run like a Discovery Channel type show or the Learning Channel type stuff, which if you know the Learning Channel here in the States, you know it's not education. So with that, anyway, they don't enforce a lot of the copyright material. Your content's there. You don't get paid in the traditional manner. You get paid based off of partly it's engagement, but they pay you kind of a flat fee, from what I understand. I haven't looked entirely into that. This is really rough details, but anyway, it's not something you'd put your Twitch games on. It's not something you would run through. Like, it doesn't work that way. But I forget where I was going with this. I lost it. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that the format of this channel has to change in order for me to sustain what I'm doing here. And I think I would still go back to the same 2 nights a week run. I don't know if that'll be Tuesday, Friday. I think we're doing Tuesday, Thursday. It's been so long since I ran streams, I can't remember. Let me see what my channel tells me still. Let's see. So we were doing Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. We might actually stick to that. I don't know. I kind of want to get Friday. Numbers are better on Fridays. If you guys don't know, stream numbers are usually better on Fridays. And I forget the other date. I'm probably going to put some time into looking at that better. What evenings are better, what days. Daytime is the best slot. I think afternoons. When last I looked anyway, and it's been about a year since I looked, but I think afternoons are your perfect time to get into streaming, or to put a stream on. I don't know why. I assume most people are watching streams are at work or at school. I always thought that evenings would be better, but apparently not. People watch on their mobile phones, that's a thing. I've known people I've ran into that just working job mechanics. At the last place I worked, they would watch Twitch streams or listen to them on their phone while they were working. I didn't understand that. They weren't engaging, they were lurking, but they were still listening to the channel. And the channel wasn't talking about anything particular, they're just playing a game. So that's definitely a thing. It's confusing to me. I am not a marketing person, I'm not a salesperson. I don't understand a lot of that. I don't like it. I don't like marketing. I think marketing is a very dirty business. And it's just because of how it comes off sometimes, how forceful it is sometimes. So, but anyway, that is kind of where things were, where we are, and where things are at, and why this channel has been off the air for a year. Is life happened. In a nutshell, but to sum it all up, life happened in the worst possible ways. Life happened. And again, I've known a lot of streamers that have dropped their stream. Some, one person in particular that I lurked on a lot, they had to move. They had medical issues come up. I don't know why I'm mooed out move. Need to cut that. But life happens and streaming takes a backseat. That's what happens. Streaming is one of those things that unless it's producing your mainstream of income, it is a hobby. It is a hobby that you have to make the decision to shelf for a little bit. So I wanted to get this out to, again, to the people that watch and stuff that do watch this, can understand where I'm at. YouTube, that channel lost a lot of viewers. That's that. There was not a surprise. I expected that. This video should hopefully fill in some gaps for everybody. And that way people can understand what's going on. And hopefully my Brazilian audience will forgive me. Love you guys. I don't know any of you. You've never commented. So we'll see where everything goes with that. So we probably will play something. I'll probably transition to a BRB because I need a cut in here so I can edit this later. And then I need more to drink and stuff like that. So maybe do a BRB and we'll hop into WoW for a little bit. I don't have too long because I've got to get up in the morning and start shifting stuff around the house. I'm not packed yet for moving. That hasn't happened yet. We haven't got pictures for the listing yet. That's coming up next week, early next week, so I've got to move a bunch of stuff to the garage. My house is very much lived in. There is stuff everywhere. A lot of it is the resale because of improper storage. I haven't had the money to buy a proper storage or shelving for a lot of stuff, so it's a system of boxes. That's kind of the advantage of moving, is that I'll be able to better organize the storage, and then when I get to buy a house later on, I will be able to have things organized much better. So also I want to reduce the inventory because, my God, I've got so much stuff everywhere. So yeah, let's go ahead and, where are we at, 136? That's a good time to cut here for this. We're going to throw it on a BRB. It should still work. I checked it out. It looked like it was working. Throw it on a BRB, and then when we are back, we'll hop into some World of Warcraft, and we're going to do some farming of materials. Market's really good right now. I'll talk about that in World of Warcraft and just catch up with everybody. If anybody's got any questions, we'll address with that. Not too many people here again. Anybody that was showing up before, I don't blame them for not showing up because I just didn't have the engagement. And leaving the channel for a year, I couldn't expect too many people to stick around unless they're close to me. So, and even then, I wouldn't blame anybody if they didn't. I mean, that was not exactly my best. So, yeah. So on YouTube, if you're there, like and subscribe. Share this with your friends if you have any. I'm being an asshole. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. More videos will come. There will be a gap of at least, I'm going to say at least a month right now before the next actual solid stream schedule comes out. It may be sooner than that. I would hope it's sooner than that. I expect it to be sooner than that. Doesn't mean it will be. We'll see what happens. But I will update everybody in Twitter. I've been pretty active on there off and on. There have been more tweets about gaming and stuff in there. I'll try to keep that up as well. There's a lot going on. But we'll keep it going. So, yeah, like and subscribe, and I appreciate everybody showing up for that. Again, if you're on Twitch, we're going to continue on after BRB. If you're on YouTube, that's the end of the video for now. Thank you guys for showing up. I appreciate it. And any questions or comments you guys have, I will try to get back to you as soon as I can on the YouTube side. Until next time, guys.